Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Welcome back to another video featuring K-Pop-Up, the Subaru Sambar that we've turned into a mobile lemonade stand. It's been a while since I did a video about this truck. A couple reasons why, mainly because life has just been lifing. Also, this truck got robbed recently. Not fully stolen, but all the electronics inside were taken. We'll get back to that towards the end, but today what I wanted to do was lowering springs that I've had sitting in storage for a couple months. A little context, we recently went to a Daikoku meet. It was in a parking garage. This thing, as you see, even in its lowered height, was that far away from hitting the beams. At the time, before it got stolen, I had a solar panel up top and it actually decided to skid itself off because it hit one of the beams. So anyways, I thought, okay, what better excuse than now to install these lowering springs? That's what I'm gonna do today. It's gonna be a little bit of a DIY how-to because the only person I've seen really do it is OK Garage, and it wasn't like a super thorough walkthrough step-by-step of how to take apart the suspension. It's not complex by any means. It's a K truck at the end of the day, but I did want to show a step-by-step process as I face it head on. First time doing this on this truck. So let's go.
In typical safety fashion, make sure you get yourself a nice strong jack and at least 2 jack stands so you can safely prop your car up and make sure it does not flatten you today. So here's what this all looks like with no wheel up front. Oh, and first of all, I just realized I have to get different hub-centric rings. I think maybe some of those are in the car, but I may have forgotten them, and that's annoying. And I definitely need new pads soon. Anyhow, it seems relatively simple. There's a bolt for the strut perch. This bolt here that I'll have to take off, and that just holds the brake line on. And then there's really only 2 bolts right here. On these cars, it's very simple here. There are just 2 grommets. Boom, pop out like that. So simple. Could do it with one hand. Boom. Now those are exposed. There's one in there, kind of dark, and number 2 is in there. So let's get what I think is a 14, probably with an extension. Reach in there, boom, boom. Should be pretty good. Now, one thing I should mention is the fact that you should not fully take them off when you impact them out, because what you're gonna wanna do in a second is to undo this perch bolt, and you're really gonna need to like hammer down onto the hub here. Not too hard so that you don't pop out your axles, but just enough so that the whole strut assembly with the spring can come out. You'll use those top bolts almost as leverage to hold it up while you push down on the hub. Okay, now we're gonna take that, I think it's a 10 mil or a 12 mil bolt or something like that, maybe a 14, that holds the brake line to the actual knuckle. It is indeed a 12. That bolt back on. Next step is to get this bolt off right here. That's a 14, and that holds the strut in place. And after that, we'll just spread the knuckle. This whole assembly should just about be free to pop out. See, we got separation. I want to see if I can suck this back up a little bit up top. Good, axle did not pop off. Now we can loosen these top nuts here and drop the whole assembly. Just like that, the whole assembly is out. And God, is it rusty, oh my God. Now you gotta do is access, okay, well, actually, first of all, let's put some spring compressors on it. I hate that I have to even remind people of this, but get yourself a set of spring compressors. Either go to AutoZone or rent them, go on Amazon and get like a $20, $30 set like I did. Don't be stupid, get spring compressors. Don't be a hot boy. Don't try to scrounge your pennies together and not spend on something that could very well kill you. Fortunately, the Sambar, it's not really under much tension, the springs themselves I'm talking about, but say if it was any other car, could die. These are the gritty springs that I'm going to be installing. It should drop it about 1 inch, but also stiffen it up, which is something I'm definitely looking forward to because I always bottom out with the 15s on the 195, 45 15s. Not a good look. Okay, here's a problem I'm running into. This is like way too wide. This diameter of the bottom of the spring is way too wide for the perch. However, it would also be way too wide for this top hat. And I cross compared it to this guy here, and the bottom is just as narrow as the top. But if you look, like this would technically be one of the rears, however. Okay, so here's why this was a problem for me. I didn't realize that there's an F and an R sticker, respectively, on the 2 different styles of springs that came in here. The wider ones go in the rear, and the narrower ones go in the front. Now, they were still too long, so I did have to do some cutting, to be honest.
I ran away off camera a little bit. I had to cut a link off of the spring because I want the car to go a little bit lower and still be stiffer. Now, these springs, I imagine, because they're progressive, they're gonna maintain the rigidity over the stock springs. However, I do want it to be a little lower, kind of for looks, but also for functionality. For some reason, the springs were a hair longer than the stock ones, so I had to cut off one link. They're back on. On the driver's side, I'll show you more of the in-depth of what you have to do on the strut and strut mount itself. Nonetheless, these two are back in there. And now I just have to realign the knuckle with the strut here.
The point of this really is to press the knuckle over the strut itself from below, as opposed to trying to do it manually by hand with all that extra weight and resistance against you. From there, really just double check that the strut is fully in the knuckle and then tighten it back down with that 14mm bolt.
And then in the back, of course, reattach the brake line and that should be good to go. Now, one last thing, let me just see which one of the rings that I had bought off Amazon will fit the hub of this wheel first, and then I can reinstall it onto my spacer here and then reinstall the wheel and check the ride height.
As a FYI, the Subaru Sambar KS4 hub bore size is 59.1mm. Use that for your own reference.
Guess we'll drop it down and see what it's sitting like. I'm gonna take a spin around the block, see if they settle. All right, so I just did a spin around the block, and I don't know if it's just because the street's slanted to this side, but I mean, there's the wheel gap there in the front. And that's the other side. I feel like there's no change. Like, if anything, this side looks lower. That versus that. Yeah, absolutely not. I'm about to cut another link off of the spring. Okay, so just to do an apples to apples comparison after a quick drive and after taking 2 coils off of the front springs, as you can see, the street slants this way, right? It looks no lower than before. So I imagine it just needs to settle, or maybe it's because although the spring is now shorter, it's stiffer, so it's holding up the weight better, which is good for sure. I'm not gonna lie and act as if none of this isn't for vanity purposes or for looks purposes. Okay, so on the driver's side, you gotta take off 4 12 mils in order to get access to the top of the strut. There's 2 right in the front, and once you slide the seat forward, you'll reveal 2 more facing upwards. Now, I might actually have limited clearance back here for my socket. Correction, there's just enough room for a socket wrench. Be mindful that your socket goes fully over the nut, because otherwise you're gonna strip it out and not be able to get your strut out. Not fun.
So the driver's side is pretty much identical to the passenger side. Obviously, you saw me take the driver's seat out. You kind of have to, otherwise you have to do some maneuvering to get your wrench over onto the nuts. That's just not comfortable. It's much easier to just take out the driver's seat. But anyways, you see me here disassembling the strut. There is a collar or like a dust boot that you have to put on top of the spring before you put the top hat on. Make sure you're keeping in mind that there are certain meeting points for all the perches and whatnot. Pay attention to that. This strut perch here, or this knuckle rather, was being a little bit of a pain, so I had to spread it out with a pry bar. But after a hammer and a pry bar all worked out well, I was able to reassemble the car and drop it back down.
So far, no rub.
Now the rear is honestly a million times easier. All you really have to do is take out this bottom nut and bolt. They're both 14s. Counterhold the nut and get your impact gun onto the bolt itself. Once you take that off, it's really a matter of just prying out the old spring, putting the bottom and top sleeves / hats onto the new spring, reassemble, and that's that. I believe I took one link off of each rear spring just to give me that height that I wanted. And quite frankly, I think that it's all really dependent on the pressure of the strut as opposed to the length of the spring that determines the ride height, because I don't really think that I notice any type of difference. They're definitely, again, stiffer than the stock springs. However, I don't really think that the ride height changed in the rear.
And we got the new hub-centric rings installed. These wheels, 67.1 millimeter hub. My hubs on this truck, 59.1. Those are the adapters I got. We'll see how they drive.
Yeah, nah. As you can see, it pretty much didn't drop it at all, so I had to do what I had to do.
So I installed the springs. Fitment wasn't right. If anything, it felt like it lifted the car. So I had to cut them down. Perfect on the front, not so much in the rear. So I cut those down too. Let's see the final fitment. Didn't do anything. I'm gonna guess it's one of those things where you just have to wait for them to settle. Maybe let's check back in tomorrow when I'm working a couple other things on the truck to get it ready for service for this weekend.
The next day.
This is how it's quote unquote settling. Both the front and the rear, I cut off 2 coils, so I don't really know. Another cool thing that I got in the mail that's more or less truck related is something that's actually more beneficial for the business itself. But because the business is the Lemonade truck, this is relevant. So what I'm installing here are FLEXIMOUNTS shelving system. FLEXIMOUNT is a company that makes storage solutions for your garage, for your kitchen, whatever have you. They reached out to me and they were like, hey, could you use these? I said, absolutely. We have a bunch of ball jars, extra cups, lids, basically everything that we have 4K pop-up, we can now store and keep organized and high up so we can actually walk around our 1-bedroom apartment and not have to stub our toes. Thanks to FLEXIMOUNTS for sending these out. They're super rigid, easy to install. They come with a template. There's going to be a coupon link in my description, so check that out and get yourself your own. And just like that, we have kitchen storage. Here's a couple things to mention about these FLEXIMOUNTS. First of all, major thanks to FLEXIMOUNTS. They sent me a 4-pack of these. Nice depth. They're 2 feet deep. Technically, these are meant for a garage, but we're in Brooklyn, so we don't have one. The nice thing about these is that they're built to be durable and withstand a lot of weight on them. That's also why I opted for 2, is to not drill too many holes in my landlord's building. These brackets should be able to hold like, I don't know, a solid 150 pounds per. Correction, each shelf holds 200 pounds. So the goal today is to cut out this right here as well as that and fit some halogen yellow fogs right here. Not Subaru Sambar fogs, but halogen yellow fogs nonetheless. Go ahead and get your Dremel out with a cutoff wheel and carefully start to go around the perimeter of that line. It's kind of perforated for you already, and quite frankly, if you have just a short bladed knife, use that instead. It'll be much cleaner. Also, let me save you some money. Do not buy the Dremel light. That thing is a piece of These are the lights, and the problem I'm finding is that the bracket is on them. So the bumper itself has 2 mounting points for the stock fog lights, and I'm trying to make these here work, and I think what I'm gonna have to do is just take off this bracket, maybe even just black sealant around them into this pocket. What's also funny is that this pocket here is actually a hair larger than the diameter of this light, so I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to make all that work, but we're getting there. Also, one thing to mention is that, so this bracket is metal, this whole structure is plastic, right? You have the positive and you have your ground. They're assuming that you're mounting this straight to the metal frame, the chassis of the car. I'm in this case not, so I'm gonna have to find a different grounding point for this guy. But then I'm also thinking the harness has 2 leads for each light, so kind of bizarre as to why they did that. Go ahead and find yourself one of those empty button placeholders in your dash. Mount the switch that you get with your nightlight wiring harness. Pop that in, drill the hole, whatever, and run your wiring. And just like that, we have fog lights. What I did was reuse some old wiring, and that didn't work. So then I checked out my continuity, and I didn't have any, so ended up adding a fuse. The wires are tucked under there somewhere. That's about that. Not the most professional job, but they work. Did what I could with what I had, and it worked out. Back at the car a couple days later. Here's what the stance is looking like. I mean, I don't know if it's really settled much more or not. Anyhow. Just want to say a major thank you for watching, but even more major thank you to everybody that contributed to our GoFundMe. It means the world, truly. You got us back on our feet just like that. Big shout out to the car community. If you contributed, we owe you. So what we're gonna do is make some punch cards for everyone that contributed.
I don't know exactly how many free items we're going to give away, but I'll talk to Shirley more about that, and we'll come up with a game plan. But if you see us, let us know, hey, I gave you money, give me a drink, give me a cookie, something. Till next time, till the next event, really. Check you later.